This President Trump celebrating what he calls a truly great meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The president touting agreements on agriculture and energy. And here's what he told reporters on Air Force One.
I thought it was an amazing meeting. He's a great leader of a very powerful, very strong country, China.
What will your new tariff rate on China's goods be?
Because we reduced it by the fentanyl, because I believe they are really taking strong action. We've already seen the action on fentanyl, and they're taking very strong action. So we reduced it 10%.
Michael Pillsbury, Heritage Foundation senior advisor and a Fox News contributor, and the best guest that we could have on this. Could you give us your takeaway overall for the meeting and the trip to Asia?
Well, I would echo some of the words the president's been using. It was an amazing meeting. China is a strong country. He's got some very specific deals, $6 billion roughly for soybeans this year. That means in the next month or two, then doubling that to next year to $12 billion worth of soybeans. He's got an extension on the Chinese sort of outrageous export control system where they're going to control any exports at all that have ring magnets or rare earths in them. So both sides came away with something. The fact that Melania and President Trump are going to visit China apparently in April, that's looking ahead to a more positive relationship. Dana, what I do think happened is the president has rejected the people who say we're at war with China, this is a Nazi regime, we can't do any deals because we can't trust them. On the contrary, the president twice now has said that he is personally in charge of China. That was part of the Air Force One comment yesterday, that I am the one who deals with China. He's not delegating this to anybody else. So that shows the level of importance to him of a good trade deal with China. I think there's more to come, but the rejection of this, the super hawk view that China's an enemy and we're at war with them, that's pretty obvious that the Trump team just doesn't talk that way about China.
Okay, also, one of the things that was possibly going to come up is Taiwan, but it didn't. President Trump said this on Air Force One.
What about the Taiwan issue, sir?
It never came up. Taiwan never came up. It's not discussed, actually.
My amateur view is that it didn't come up because President Trump was in more of a position of strength on this issue, and China didn't want to bring it up because they don't want to screw up the economics that they need from us. But you tell me, am I wrong?
You're only partially right. The Taiwan issue is settled by Kissinger and Nixon. We don't recognize Taiwan as a country. We don't have diplomatic relations. We don't station Army, Navy, Air Force troops there. We don't have Navy port calls. We don't have military exercises. All that's fine with China. That was the promise that Nixon and later on Jimmy Carter made. So not bringing it up means it freezes this situation Taiwan is in, where nobody quite knows who owns Taiwan, who they belong to. And that, in this situation, that's good news, Dana, because it means the threat of war, the threat of really major exercises to scare Taiwan, that's probably off the table for now. So it's a good outcome that Taiwan is not brought up.
Right. Okay. Also, President Trump made an announcement that caught some by surprise. It was about nuclear testing and what we should do here. Listen here.
That had to do with others. They seem to all be nuclear testing. We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Your thoughts on that?
That's something that President Trump wants to get started, but he hasn't succeeded yet. He wants trilateral three-way talks with Russia, China, and America, try to put a cap on the total of nuclear weapons, try to have stability agreements where before you launch a missile, you notify the other side so there's no misperception. He didn't get that. He talked about it in advance. Is that something he wanted? He's been talking about this for several years now, that the Chinese are going to double or triple their nuclear weapons total. So in a way, having nuclear weapons tests ourselves enhances our credibility in the nuclear area. But I look forward to, in the future, to these three-way talks getting started. Putin said he would do it. China has sort of been scared to start because they claim they have too few nuclear weapons. So this is a future issue I think President Trump will bring up again and again.
Michael Pillsbury, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.